there. So it's been a while since I've made a video. I haven't done a lot of work on my truck over the winter. I had this idea that I would finish it last summer, and then I thought I'd finish it in the fall, and turns out it takes me a long time to do stuff. And I came out to the island in the fall and ran into some very, very wet weather, and you can hear the rain right now. It sounds kind of nice. And did a lot of work on my roof, trying to seal the roof, and it didn't work out because of the weather. So I have some leaks to contend with. I did manage to install a couple windows, this being one, which both my windows which are leaking, and I think I just figured out where they're leaking from. I couldn't figure it out before, but it just kind of hit me last night. I had an idea, so hopefully I'm right about that, but I'll have to wait for a dry day to work on my windows. So anyway, it's spring again, the weather's warming up, it's still raining a lot, but I'm back in my truck and I just want to do what I can, just keep going, and so I'll give you a little tour now of where I'm at and what I've done so far. So as you can see, I've done a lot of the framing. Most of the framing on the walls is done. What I did was I just screwed these 2x2s onto these existing aluminum studs that are part of the wall. So that was very convenient. It's pretty easy to do. And then I'll be fitting the insulation between these wooden studs and then putting paneling over top of that. This was the first window I installed. I ordered some pretty nice RV windows, and they're double pane glass, so they're thermal, and they have a bronze tint, so from the outside you can't really see in. And this is a slider window, so it opens. It's got little screen on it, which is kind of nice. And what I did was I basically just drew out a pattern on a piece of cardboard and then traced it on the outside of my truck and then cut it out with a jigsaw, and then built the window frame and stuck the window in and then sealed it up. I'm now working with this marine adhesive sealant that's supposed to be very, very good, and it's a little easier to work with in wetter weather. It sets pretty quickly. So I've been trying to figure out why my window's leaking, and I think what's going on is that water is running down the inside of this stud. It's getting in the seam from the outside. Whoops. Just got to try and focus here. It's getting in the seam from the outside, running down and then down inside here and then running around. So I just got to try and seal the seam of the stud from the outside when the weather is a little nicer. And this is the second window I put in over here. It's a fixed window, so it doesn't open, but it's the same quality. It's thermal, it's tinted. That's where I want to have my kitchen area, standing up there. And I've got the same kind of leak is happening, and so hopefully it is that. Hopefully I've figured it out. Just got to wait for a dry day to try sealing it up differently. I started framing the ceiling, which I'm going to continue today. So you can see I've got 2x2s that I put up there, and in the same manner as the wall, the insulation will fit between them. And then I also put up these 2x3s here that are wrapped in vapor barrier. If you saw my video about making roof bows, I scrapped that idea, and instead I'm putting these, I put these pieces of wood up to kind of just help keep the roof pushed up in a rounded way. I'm not really sure if that's working. In some places it's not working, but there's a couple good things about these about putting that wood up there. Is my truck used to, the roof used to rattle and make a horrible racket when I was driving. And it doesn't do that at all anymore. So that's a benefit. And another benefit is that between these pieces of wood, basically I'm creating these little sort of partitions that will be inside the insulation, and like the insulation will sit on top of that. So I'll create little air pockets, which will help make the insulation better instead of having the air moving back and forth over a big area. One of the problems I've had with putting these things up, though, is it pushes the roof into a different position, and then sometimes I'll notice like a little leak in a place at the edge that I didn't have before. So it's always tricky. It's like with the windows. It's like if you do one thing, you just might run into some other problem you never anticipated. So I try not to do anything like the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I try not to do anything that's not absolutely necessary, although sometimes I think I do too much. Not necessarily too much of a good thing, though. So see, I've got the framing done along the front and the doorway. Got the framing down the sides here and around the back barn doors. And I brought all my insulation out from the city. I'm in a really remote place right now, and I don't have access to a lot of tools or materials that I would have in the city. So right now I've got this. This is a polystyrene board, I believe it is. And then I brought out all this Reflectix here that I bought in the city as well. I've got a few more rolls lying around. So I've got about $800 worth of insulation. I might have mentioned that already. Just sitting here kind of getting in the way. My truck's a big mess right now as far as being a work area. But I'll just have to clear it up a bit and get to work and get something done. The beast.